Hello, everybody. It's Donna Cravotta. Welcome back to day 2 of When Wisdom Meets AI, and welcome to the Intentional Visibility Project over here on Substack. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to be going live for 15 days through Monday through Friday through March 27th, every day, to just share a little bit about my work, visibility strategies, this celebration of 3 years of interviews for the Real 50 Over 50. And I'll be introducing you to some of these women who are incredible and a little about what I plan on building here on Substack. And I hope you want to be part of that. So today we're going to talk about context and the importance of bringing context into your content, into the way that you work with AI tools, to carry it through your stories. Without context, it's just random words. And the context is the part that helps people connect to what you're doing because they can see themselves in your stories, in your experiences. And it's something that only you could really bring because they are your stories and your experiences. So I'm going to start with introducing you to a couple of the women from the Real 50 Over 50. They don't even know I'm doing this, but hopefully, I don't know, maybe they'll come and chime in. But we have done 145 interviews. There are 178 women and 1 man in the community. And what I'm sharing today, and what I will be sharing every day that I go live, is little snippets of what they said in interviews. And I'm going to tie that to visibility work and how it works together. And just they have shared so much wisdom. They have shared their stories so deeply and personally, and like just really showed up with total vulnerability. And I'm just amazed every day about what they're willing to come on my little live stream show and share. And starting next month, I'm going to start live streaming here on live streaming the interviews here on Substack. Um, I am currently live streaming to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, but nobody comes to Facebook. And honestly, that's not where I want to be building my own visibility. And I would rather be doing it here. So we'll start. So stay tuned for some more announcements on that. But today, I want to introduce you to these 3 women who have been interviewed, and they're part of the Real 50 Over 50 community. Um, Kim Fuller is actually here on Substack as well, and her Substack is Kim's Substack. And what she shared in her interview was that before she was preparing to speak on a TEDx stage, and she was facing fears around that. She was sharing a very vulnerable story, and she never really spoke about it before. She wrote a book about it, but she never really got up and spoke about it before. And she talked about the challenge that she had with tapping into her self trust, to be able to trust her story and to trust the audience enough to share it. And when we bring context into the content that we create, in whatever form we're creating this content, what we're doing is we're gathering our stories and we're gathering trust. And that trust is the part that comes out through the communication, that comes out through the story. Because when you're showing that you have this trust with your own content, with your own story, that extends that trust out and gives permission to other people to trust their stories, to trust their audience. And that's where the shift really happens, because without you even being present, if you're sharing that level of vulnerability in the content you're creating, that is the thing that comes through. And when you're working with AI tools, I'm going to talk a lot about AI also because I use AI differently than a lot of people do. And I really want to teach people how to do this. And I particularly want to teach women over 50 how to do this because it is a mirror that reflects back to you. It is a tool that could pull together all of the breadcrumbs in a way that you can't as you're standing in the middle of your own content and your own stories. And I have been doing this now for about 3 years. But really over the last year, I've gone deep into it and it has changed the way I do everything. I used it to create this, and I'll explain that in some future lives. But today, I really want to stick to that intersection of trust, storytelling, and context. And the way that AI tools work, just quickly, is they're just looking for the next available word based on how they were trained. And if you just go to them with like, write me a blog post about self-trust, okay? What you're gonna get is what I called AI pond scum. It's the stuff that floats over on the top. It's the thing that makes you sound like everybody else because that's the lazy attempt that an AI tool will automatically go to if you're not giving it enough information. It's just gonna sit there and, like, grab what's right on the top and send it back to you. And this is where people either get frustrated and say it doesn't work, or they'll get frustrated and just say it's good enough. I don't have time to do anything else, and then they're going to put out content that doesn't speak to people, that doesn't really do anything for them. But when you go to an AI tool and you give it some context, you say, okay, here's, an experience that I have had around, I'm just going to stick with the intersection of, trust, storytelling, and context. So if you, like, I just shared Kim's story, right? And I'm going to share a couple more stories with you. But when you bring that story, when you bring how you felt, when you bring the things that the AI can't do, what it does is it takes what it can do, which is find the patterns that you can't see, and then it pads it with the context that you bring. So it's helping you create this deep story or deep piece of content that is full of the things that it cannot create for you because it wasn't trained on the information. It is only looking for the next available word that makes sense based on how it was trained. So when it's doing that and you're bringing what you can only bring, what comes together is something that is connected in a way that we really can't do for ourselves because we're too close to see all the moving parts. And then when that your story now becomes the connective tissue between all of those different points that AI can pull together for you. And it can do it fast and it can do it with a massive amount of information. And it's just, and then when you see it back, it's like, "Oh, why didn't I see that before? I lived this. Why didn't I know this?" Right? So I'm gonna share another woman with to just bring this home with their stories. So Gail Harris is, she's a memoir ghostwriter, and she goes really deep with her clients. A lot of the books that she helps bring into the world are about living through some really painful experiences, and she really is, one of the most empathetic people that I have ever met. And um, she gosh, she works with one client at a time. That's how deep she goes. So what she helps her clients do is she teaches them how to trust themselves so they can share these deeply personal, deeply painful stories so these stories can go out into the world and help other people. Um, Her and I have had debates about AI. She's not a fan, but, she has the way that I approach it, she's, shown some curiosity. which makes me excited because that when somebody, with her caliber of writing experience and the level of depth that she goes into to help people, unearth their stories, it makes me feel like I'm doing this the right way. I'm doing this in a way that is more beneficial than harmful. I'm fully aware of the flip side of AI, but it's here. We should use it, and it's really changing the way that we do things. And one of the ways that I feel about AI is that it's available to all of us for free or a very small amount of money. um, we need to learn how to use it. And the way to really learn how to use it to collaborate with it is to put your hands on the keyboard. And you will hear me say this over and over again. There is no magic bullet. There is no shortcut. Work is work. Okay. It is work to put good content out in the world, whether you're using an AI tool or not. And, it can help us save time for sure, but that is not the approach that I take to AI. The approach that I take to AI is, can it make me do something better than I'm currently doing it? Can it open up new ways of thinking, new opportunities? Um, you know, Learning about something I don't know. That's the approach that I take. And every morning I sit down at my desk and I get excited because I have had my own business for 20 years, and I have been involved with technology since 1983 when I started working in law firms, in very, very new word processing departments. And I've done like everything between then and now. So I am usually at the forefront of things that are changing and adopting new technologies. I'm very particular about what I do and how I do it and the tools that I use and who I learn from because I have seen it all. And what gets me excited when I come and sit at my desk every day is that I think about what I'm going to know at the end of the day that I don't know now. What is the experience that I'm going to have that I'm not expecting? Because every single day that happens when you show up with curiosity and you're open to new things. And right now, AI is that new thing. And I really want to help people see it the way that I'm seeing it and experience it the way that I am experiencing it, because it is not about buying somebody's custom GPT or, you know, pressing a button and having it create 6 months of social media for you. That is the AI pond scum. What I'm talking about is being able to have a deeper relationship with yourself, with your own work, um, by having it reflect back to you what's possible. That's what's exciting. So now I want to introduce you to a third woman, Natalie Pincham. She is a visibility expert, just as I am, and we have had such amazing conversations about the way that we work with clients and the strategies that we use and what works and what's changing and what doesn't work anymore. And it's just an absolute delight when I get to talk to people like this that do the same work that I do. And um, hosting the Real 50 Over 50 interviews has opened up several opportunities to build relationships with people that do the same work that I do, that I might not have had the same opportunity to do that if we were just showing up as competitors doing the same work. And I fully believe um, in collaboration over competition. And it's just been such fun to get to know people, and the way that they work when they do similar work to the work that I do. But what she does is she reminds her clients that their voices and their stories, are filled with their values. And she encourages them to listen to their own stories and to listen, um, to listen for where the values are, where the trust is. Listen as an audience member so you can understand the way that story is going to land for somebody else. And it's such incredible advice because when you do that, you get to understand the value and the truth in your own experiences, in your own work in a very different way. And that is kind of like the way that I work with it. AI too, because it reflects back to me those things that I can't often hear, um, because I'm too close to it. So those are 3 really solid examples to stay out of the murk of random acts of marketing and show up as who you are. When we've been on this planet for, several decades, we've amassed experiences and, life experiences, work experiences. We've done things that have accumulated, and so often we are so focused on what's coming next that we forget to remember what we have already accomplished. And that's part of the methodology that I have put together called Tried and New. Years ago, I called this a content audit. And I took myself through it 3 years ago when I redesigned my business and realized that it is so much more than that. It really is this reflection, about what you already have. It, it becomes evidence that, of course, you could do that next thing that you wanna do, the thing that feels scary, the thing that feels bigger than you, because you already have. And, it also just kind of decimates imposter syndrome because the world is designed to tell us that, you know, w we're done. Let's just stop. Let's sit down and shut up. But when we have this proof that we've done all of these things, of course we could do whatever we wanna do because we've survived, we've lived, we've thrived through enormous change, not only within our own work and our own, like, personal and professional lives, but enormous change in the world and how everything is done. I mean, I started my first job with carbon paper. Um, and here I am with AI, and and I'm not done yet. Believe me, I'm not done. Anyway, I just wanted to share all these things, and tomorrow I am gonna be back, and we are gonna be talking about, productivity and, um, a new and refreshing way to look at that, and I'll share some more women from the 50 over 50, and, just introduce you to who I am, what I do, and what I'm looking to build over here on Substack. And it's going to be a bit of a wisdom revolution. So come back tomorrow, watch the replays, bring some friends, and I look forward to getting to know you and sharing more. And let's build this all over here together. Have a great day, everyone.